Imagine standing completely alone in the middle of the Sahara Desert. No roads, no buildings, no sounds of civilization, only endless waves of sand stretching beyond every horizon. The air is silent. The emptiness feels almost alive. Now imagine something even more unsettling. Replace the desert with space itself. No air, no ground, no up or down. Just darkness expanding forever in every direction. That is the scale we are dealing with when we talk about the universe. Most people hear the word light year and naturally assume it measures time. It sounds like something related to years, clocks, or age. But a light year is not a measure of time at all. It is a measure of distance, specifically, the distance that light travels in one full year. And light moves unbelievably fast. In a single second, light travels about 300,000 kilometers. That means it could circle the Earth more than 7 times in just 1 second. Imagine snapping your fingers, and during that tiny instant, light has already raced around the planet multiple times. Now stretch that speed across an entire year. The result is almost impossible for the human mind to truly comprehend. 1 light year equals approximately 9. 46 trillion kilometers. That number is so enormous that our brains struggle to visualize it. Human beings evolved to understand forests, mountains, villages, and cities, not cosmic distances measured in trillions. To understand how absurdly large a light year really is, consider Earth itself. The circumference of our planet is roughly 40,000 kilometers. That already feels huge to us. Traveling around Earth by airplane takes many hours. Crossing oceans takes days. But 1 single light year is equal to circling Earth around 236 million times. Even that comparison barely captures the true scale. If you drove a car nonstop at highway speed without ever resting, it would take tens of millions of years to travel 1 light year. Human civilization itself is only a few thousand years old. Entire empires have risen and collapsed in periods far shorter than the time required just to cross 1 light year using ordinary transportation. And here is the terrifying part. In cosmic terms, 1 light year is considered small. Astronomers casually describe nearby stars as being 4, 10, or 50 light years away, as if those distances are somehow manageable. But the reality is horrifying. The nearest south star system to Earth, Proxima Centauri, is over 4 light years away. That means even light, the fastest thing in existence, still needs more than 4 years to get there. Human technology is nowhere close to that speed. Voyager 1, the fastest spacecraft humanity has ever launched, has been traveling through space since 1977. It moves at roughly 61,000 kilometers per hour, an incredible speed by human standards. Yet despite traveling for decades, Voyager 1 has only crossed a tiny fraction of the distance to the nearest star. At its current speed, reaching Proxima Centauri would take around 37,000 years. Think about what that really means. When Voyager 1 finally arrived, every nation alive today would be gone. Every language would likely be different. Entire civilizations would have vanished into history. Humanity itself might no longer exist. And that journey would only reach the nearest star. This is why the universe feels so lonely. Science fiction often makes interstellar travel appear easy ships jumping casually between stars. civilizations spread across galaxies, humans exploring the cosmos like sailors crossing oceans. But reality is brutally different. Space is not merely large. It is overwhelmingly, crushingly vast. The distances between stars are so extreme that they isolate worlds from one another almost completely. A light year is more than a scientific measurement. It is a reminder of how separated everything in the universe truly is. Every star in the night sky is isolated by unimaginable oceans of emptiness. Every possible civilization is trapped within its own tiny corner of the cosmos, surrounded by distances so immense they almost destroy the idea of connection itself. And yet, despite all of this, humanity still looks upward. We still build telescopes. We still send probes into the dark. We still ask questions about what lies beyond our tiny world. Perhaps that is the most extraordinary thing of all. In a universe measured in light years, fragile human beings still dare to explore. Every time you look up at the night sky, you are not seeing the universe as it exists right now. You are seeing history. This is one of the strangest and most unsettling truths in astronomy. Light takes time to travel. Even though it moves faster than anything else in the universe, the distances in space are so enormous that light still needs years, centuries, even millions of years to cross them. That means the stars you see tonight are not showing you the present moment. They are showing you the past. Take the North Star Polaris, for example. It is about 434 light years away from Earth. The light entering your eyes tonight began its journey more than 4 centuries ago. When that light first left Polaris, Shakespeare was still alive. Entire empires that existed then have already disappeared from Earth. Yet the light from that distant star is only arriving now. Some visible stars are even farther away, over 1,000 light years distant. Their light began traveling toward Earth before modern nations existed, before electricity, before telescopes, and in some cases, before entire civilizations were born. And here is the truly haunting part. Some of those stars may not even exist anymore. A star could have exploded hundreds of years ago, vanishing into darkness, and we would still continue seeing its light for centuries because the final images of that star are still traveling toward us across space. In other words, the universe we observe is partly made of ghosts. Astronomers often say that telescopes are time machines, the far. There we look into space, the farther we look backward in time. When scientists observe distant galaxies billions of light years away, they are seeing those galaxies as they existed billions of years ago, long before Earth even formed. The cosmos is not something we witness live. It is a delayed broadcast from the past. This idea changes the way we think about reality itself. Even communication across space becomes distorted by time. If an intelligent civilization exists hundreds or thousands of light years away, they cannot see Earth as it is today. They might be observing dinosaurs, ancient oceans, or a completely lifeless planet because Earth's modern light has not reached them yet. Likewise, if they sent us a message today, we might not receive it for thousands of years. Across the universe, civilizations could be missing each other, entirely separated not only by distance, but by time itself. Every star in the night sky is a reminder that space is so vast that even light cannot escape the prions. Human beings often imagine space as a giant open frontier waiting to be explored. Movies and science fiction have trained us to believe that one day we will casually travel, veil between stars, build colonies across galaxies, and communicate instantly with alien civilizations. But reality is far harsher. The universe is not built for easy travel. The distances between stars are so unimaginably large that they create a kind of cosmic isolation. Even our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is almost impossible for humanity to fully explore. It stretches roughly 100,000 light years across. That means if you could somehow travel at the speed of light, the absolute fastest speed allowed by physics crossing our galaxy would still take 100,000 years. Human technology is nowhere near that capability. The fastest spacecraft humanity has ever created, Voyager 1, travels at about 61,000 kilometers per hour. That sounds incredibly fast by Earth standards, but in space it is painfully slow. At that speed, reaching the nearest star system, Proxima Centauri, would take approximately 37,000 years. To understand how extreme that is, think about human history. 37,000 years ago, humans were still living as hunter-gatherers. Agriculture had not been invented. Cities did not exist. Written language did not exist. Entire civilizations would rise and disappear long before such a journey ended. And that is only the nearest star. Beyond our local neighborhood lies Andromeda, the closest major galaxy to the Milky Way. It is located about 2.5 million light years away. The light we see from Andromeda tonight began its journey long before modern humans evolved. When that light first left the galaxy, Earth was populated by ancient human ancestors using primitive stone tools. That is our neighboring galaxy. The terrifying truth is that space is mostly empty. The stars we see in the sky may appear close together, but in reality, they are separated by enormous voids of darkness. Even within solar systems, planets are tiny objects scattered across massive distances. Communication suffers from the same problem. Since the early 1900s, humanity has been sending radio waves into space through television broadcasts, radar signals, and wireless communication. These signals travel outward at the speed of light, forming a growing bubble around Earth. But after more than a century, that bubble is only about 120 light years wide. Compared to the Milky Way, that distance is microscopic. If an alien civilization 100 light years away received our earliest signals today, their reply would still take another 100 years to return. A simple exchange of messages could require centuries. Entire civilizations might collapse before conversations are completed. This may explain why the universe feels silent. Intelligent life could exist everywhere, but the distances are so enormous that communication becomes almost meaningless. Civilizations may rise, flourish, and vanish before their signals ever reach another world. The universe does not simply separate us physically. It separates us through time. Every possible civilization is trapped inside its own isolated island of stars, surrounded by oceans of emptiness too vast to cross. And perhaps the most frightening realization is this: the universe may not be empty at all. It may simply be too large for anyone to ever truly meet. The observable universe is almost impossible for the human mind to comprehend. Scientists estimate that it stretches roughly 93 billion light years across and contains more than 2 trillion galaxies. Each of those galaxies holds billions or even trillions of stars, many with planets orbiting them. At first, those numbers make the universe sound crowded, but the reality is the opposite. The universe is overwhelmingly empty. Galaxies are not packed tightly together like cities on a map. They are separated by unimaginable distances filled with almost complete nothingness. Between stars, there are enormous voids. Between galaxies, there are even greater oceans of darkness, stretching millions of light years in every direction. If you could somehow shrink the observable universe down to the size of Earth, all the galaxies, stars, planets, black holes, and matter inside it would occupy only a tiny fraction of the total space. Most of existence is vacuum silent, cold emptiness, and that emptiness is growing. One of the most disturbing discoveries in modern astronomy is that the universe is expanding. Galaxies are moving away from one another because space itself is stretching. Imagine drawing dots on the surface of a balloon and then inflating it. As the balloon expands, every dot moves farther away from every other dot. That is similar to what is happening across the cosmos. But the truly terrifying part is this. In the farthest regions of the universe, galaxies are receding from us faster than the speed of light. This does not break the laws of physics because the galaxies themselves are not traveling through space faster than light. Instead, the fabric of space between us is expanding. The result, however, is deeply unsettling. Some galaxies are now permanently unreachable. Even if humanity could somehow build a spacecraft capable of traveling at light speed, there are regions of the universe we could never reach because the space between us and them expands too quickly. No future technology can overcome this limit. Those galaxies are effectively cut off forever. They exist, but they are beyond our cosmic horizon. This realization changes how we think about the universe. We tend to imagine the cosmos as something open and explorable, but in reality, much of it is fundamentally inaccessible. There are places we will never visit, stars we will never touch, and galaxies whose future light will never reach Earth. This may also explain one of the greatest mysteries in science, the Fermi Paradox. If the universe is so enormous and contains so many stars and planets, where is everybody? Why have we not discovered alien civilizations? Perhaps the answer is not that life is rare, but that distance destroys connection. Intelligent civilizations may exist. Across the universe, separated by such extreme expanses of space and time, that meaningful contact becomes nearly impossible. Signals travel too slowly. Civilizations die too quickly. The universe is simply too large. Somewhere out there, another species may already be asking the same question while staring into its own silent sky, wondering why the cosmos appears empty. And both civilizations may remain alone forever, not because nobody exists, but because the universe itself keeps them apart. In 1990, the spacecraft Voyager performed one final act before continuing its lonely journey into interstellar space. At the request of astronomer Carl Sagan, the spacecraft turned its camera back toward Earth from a distance of about 6 billion kilometers away. What it captured became one of the most important photographs in human history, the pale blue dot. In that image, Earth is almost invisible. It appears as less than a single pixel suspended inside a thin beam of sunlight. No continents can be seen, no oceans, no cities, no borders. Just a tiny pale speck floating in an ocean of darkness. Everything humanity has ever known exists on that microscopic dot. Every civilization in history. Why dot every war ever fought? Every religion, empire, king, scientist, artist, and child. Every human love story. Every dream and every tragedy. All of it happened on a world so small that it vanishes into the background noise of space. That realization can feel terrifying at first. Human beings naturally want to believe we are important, central, and significant in the grand design of existence. But the universe offers no evidence that we occupy a special position. The cosmos existed for billions of years before humanity appeared, and it will likely continue long after we are gone. The universe does not revolve around us. In fact, compared to the scale of galaxies and cosmic distances, humanity seems almost impossibly small. Our planet orbits an ordinary star located in the outer region of an ordinary galaxy among trillions of others. Even our entire Milky Way galaxy is only a tiny fragment of the observable universe. And yet, there is another way to look at this. Our smallness does not make us meaningless. In many ways, it makes our existence more extraordinary. Against impossible odds, matter on one tiny planet became alive. Life evolved. Consciousness emerged somewhere in the vast silence of the cosmos. The universe developed the ability to observe itself. That ability exists within us. Human beings are fragile, temporary creatures living on a small world, but we are capable of asking questions that reach across billions of light years. We build telescopes to study distant galaxies. We send spacecraft into the darkness. We search for meaning in a universe that may never answer us. And perhaps that is what truly matters. Not that we are large, not that we are powerful, but that we are aware. The stars do not wonder who they are. Galaxies do not dream. Black holes do not ask questions, but we do. The universe may be cold and indifferent, yet on this tiny pale blue dot, something remarkable happened. Consciousness appeared. Intelligence appeared. Curiosity appeared. We may never conquer the cosmos. We may never cross the galaxies or meet another civilization. But even so, humanity represents something rare and beautiful, a small flame of awareness shining briefly against an infinite dark, and maybe that is enough. Because in a universe measured in light years, the simple act of wondering about our existence is already extraordinary.